out there. This is Eugene Morris again with the Brotherhood of Gaming saying hello and hope you guys are doing okay out there. I'm sorry for the delay. I know it's been a while since I've done this. I know these comic books have been out for a while. March has been kind of a crazy month for me. But I'm okay though, and I'm back with a review of actually, well, two of the comic books I've been following and a third one that I wanted to talk about. Anyway, again, this is the Brotherhood of Gaming comic book review show. Just to tell you again a little recap how this works. I just give you my honest opinion on these comic books. Like I said, I'm no professional at this. I just read them because I think they might be interesting, and then just give you my honest opinion and take it for what it is. Alright, well, let's go ahead and get started. The first one we'll take a look at is Superman Wonder Woman, issue number 6. Zod and Fiora to the death. Yes. I believe this is the last one of this first arc of the Superman Wonder Woman series, which I have enjoyed a lot. I know this series has been trying to, I think the goal of the series is trying to really explore what a Superman Wonder Woman relationship would be like. Trying to show that it's more than just a marketing ploy. You know, I'm sure it is, but you know, this series is trying to show that, you know, as a couple that they can work, and I think it's done a pretty good job. Anyway, jumping into it. Basically, it starts off with Zod and Fiora creating this. It looks like this portal. Meantime, Diana and Clark are flying back to Mount Olympus, and they get into a little bit of discussion. Diana knows that Clark is hiding something, and she's like, "Come on now, we're not kids. Just be honest with me. What's going on?" And they talk, and he kind of shows his how his protective nature, and that's really what he is. Because at the end of the day, that's what he is. He is the ultimate protector, and he says he's more concerned about protecting Diana than taking care of business, and he's kind of wondering if they were better off, you know, if their work is better being together or being separate. And Diana just kind of laughs it off, says, you know, well, of course, I know that, you know, you don't have to ask me that. I know that we're stronger together. Basically just kind of reassuring you. They go meet Festus, and he is working on new weapons for them. Originally, he was building these new things for them to fight Doomsday, but now we have the Kryptonians, and so things have kind of switched around a little bit. So he's had to make some modifications. Meanwhile, Zod and Fiora are almost working on the portal, about to open it, when suddenly Zod gets blasted out of nowhere. And when I first read it, I thought it was like heat vision, but the coloring was different. He gets blasted, sent to the ground, and he's like, "Whoa, what the hell was that? I didn't sense anything." And you look up and you hear, I think it was either Clark or Diana say, "Well, that's the point." Well, the reason why Zod didn't sense them is because they snuck up on them because they were in the invisible jet. I think this was the first appearance of the invisible jet in the New 52 universe. That was one of the things that Hephaestus was working on, which actually is pretty cool. And I kind of like that idea that, you know, Hephaestus is the guy who, I think that's his name. Excuse me, I just want to double check real quick, make sure I'm getting it right. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it's Hephaestus. Yeah. Oh. Hephaestus. I'm terrible with names, just so you know. He is the guy in Mount Olympus who makes the weapons. So it does stand to reason that, yeah, he would make something like, if people ask where the invisible jet comes from, well, this kind of gives a reason. It was made by the god Hephaestus. And so it's a plane that has a constant cloak on, and they were able to sneak up on Zod and Fiora. Now, Clark and Diana, they come out, and they're wearing these new outfits. it's a really strange design. It's like full body suits with like orange veins running through them. They start fighting Zod and Fiora, but they're getting beat. Basically, they're taking a lot of shots. It looks like they're getting their asses kicked. Basically, you know, they're taking shot after shot after shot after shot. And you know, it's after all these, they're taking like hundreds of blows. You know, Zod's like, you know, have you had enough? You know, you've taken all these blows. You know, you've taken all these shots from us. You know, if this keeps up, you know, we're gonna kill you. You know, and Clark says, you know, Clark looks at Diana and says, "Do you think we've taken enough?" And Diana said, "Yeah, we have." And I think it was there. Clark and Diana said, I don't know, it's been a couple weeks since I read it, but they said, you know, you've given us 100 blows, have these blows back. And they hold hands, and then the suits explode. So basically, all the pounding they were getting, I guess it like built up. The suit kind of collected that energy, and then they just kind of released it. It's like all the power and punishment that Zod and Fiora was giving Clark and Diana, they send it right back to them. And it sends Zod and Fiora flying into the ocean. And it looks like the battle's won. But at that, well, then we see that we cut to, I think it was back to Olympus, and Apollo is there watching, and I believe the girl with her is Strife. I think that's her name. Well, anyway, he's watching this, and he remembers how Clark kicked his ass, and the thing was, if you remember, I think it was in issue 2 or 3, Apollo's power, his sun power, since he's the sun god, gave Clark a boost of energy. Well, if it works for Clark, it'll work for other Kryptonians as well. So Apollo, who doesn't like to get involved, says, you know what, this is my chance to get some revenge on that blue guy who kicked my ass. He zaps Zod and Fiora with his sun powers and just supercharges them. So now Zod and Fiora, they're supercharged, and Clark is like, oh shit, we gotta go get the League get some help. And Diana's like, no, there's no time, we have to stop them now. So Clark and Diana, they charge in to fight Zod and Fiora, and they lose. After they lose, Zod and Fiora locks Clark and Diana into our nuclear reactor. And now that they're supercharged, they use their powers to open the portal. And they open the portal to Warworld. And you see this huge shot of all these tanks and soldiers. And Zod and Fiora flies into the portal, and they're going to lead this huge army directly into Earth. You know, how Zod had connections to Warworld, I'm not sure, it's not really explained, but anyway, back in the reactor, Clark and Diana are just, you know, all bloodied and messed up, and he feels like the only way, the reactor is right next to the portal, and the only way that they could close down the portal is by causing a nuclear reaction. Now, Diana's sword, she still has her sword with her, which was pretty dumb by Fiora for not to disarm them, but anyway, Diana still had her sword, and Clark has the X-ray vision so he can see the atoms, so he would guide, so together they would guide the sword through an atom, and once the atom would split, it would cause the explosion and blow up the reactor. Before they do it, Clark looks at Diana and says, I love you. Diana looks back at Clark and says, of course you do. And I'm like, they had to give her Han Solo moment. I love you. I know. Oh man, I'm not sure. I'll be okay with that for now. I guess it kind of makes sense that she's a warrior. She wouldn't, you know, submit to saying I love you too. So I guess it kind of seems kind of appropriate that, you know, Hopefully we'll get a role reversal of something like that later on. Well, anyway, they use the sword, they split the atom, cause a huge nuclear explosion, destroys the gate, and the final part of the scene, you see Diana Clark, Superman, is just completely drained. He looks like a green skeleton. And he's holding on to Diana, who is wrapped in his cape. So it kind of looks like to me that maybe he had did it fast enough to wrap her in a cape to try to protect her from the poisoning. The blast, Superman can survive it, but it will at least weaken him, at least severely weaken him, at least for a while. You know, it was a very, very nice shot, you know, and kind of a sad way to end, you know, the fact that, you know, in their first arc together, they end up they end up getting their asses kicked, but they do save the day, but they do, you know, suffer some major injuries. The next, and that was the end of that. And the next one, I believe, is called Superman and Wonder Woman Until the End, and I will definitely be looking up into that one. I don't know if I'll continue to review it. I just wanted to review the first arc. If you guys want me to continue looking at the next arc of Superman and Wonder Woman, I'll be more than happy to do so. I'm going to still pick up the book because and read it. Whether or not you guys want me to review it or not, just let me know. Again, Morgan, if you have any other comics for me to check out, just let me know. But overall, the first 6 issues of Superman and Wonder Woman, I'm glad I purchased them. And I enjoyed it. The artwork, the storytelling. You know, there were some, like I said, there were some plot conveniences here in this final one, you know, or some loose ends here and there. But overall, I thought it was a good conclusion to the story. So that was Superman and Wonder Woman, issue number 6. Moving on, we go from the Man of Steel and the Amazon to everyone's crazy clown, Harley Quinn. This is Harley Quinn number 4, Dysfunctional Family. And this one, in this new edition of the in the daily life of Harley Quinn, she's starting her first day at the working at the old nursery home, the nursery home, and so she's her first job there. She meets this old lady who goes on and on talking about how her family never visits her, how lonely she is, and how much she wishes her family would know how much she loves them. She just wishes her family loves her just as much as, you know, she loves them. And Harley, of course, is all broken up about it. And he's like, "Don't worry, everything's gonna be fine." So she takes her back to her room, and then she tells her boss to cancel all her appointments, that she's gonna be busy for the rest of the day. Okay. Then we go to like the suburb, and we see this housewife who's like, I guess, trying to push this new like vibrator. It's not what you think. It might be, but it's like for massages to like her neighbors, you know. And she's like demonstrating it, and, you know, how you should buy this, you know, and she's like doing her like sales pitch to her friends. In the living room, you see a kid playing video games, and then downstairs you see her husband playing with his train set, you know. So then all of a sudden Harley Quinn comes busting through in a bulldozer, busts right through the door, right through the window. Tells the other chicks run away. She captures the wife. She captures the son, breaks up his video games. Then he goes downstairs and jumps on the train tracks. Like, "Hey, look, I'm Godzilla!" and smashes that and takes him too. She throws the family, which is the family of the old woman she met earlier at the nursing home, throws him in the back of the car, and she takes off. Now, then the next scene, she's in a diner, a fast food diner, and this next scene has absolutely nothing to do with the main story. The only purpose is, again, it just kind of continues this whole thing of that she's being tracked by all these bounty hunters. She's eating her hamburger and fries. In walks a bounty hunter, and he says his name is Guido. And it's a black guy with dreads and glasses. He looks like Guido from Star Wars Episode 4: A New Hope. And they recreate the cantina scene between Han Solo and Guido. They do it all, and I told you once, I heard that it kind of feels like DC's trying to push Harley Quinn as like their version of Deadpool. It almost feels like Harley had a fourth wall breaking moment, because Guido sits down, she looks at him, and he's like, what? And then he like recites a line like, you know, every bounty hunter, you know, around the FIM border. Hang on, I gotta look at the scene real quick so I can kind of recite it, what he says. Yeah, every bounty hunter in 5 boroughs is looking for you. Lucky for me that I find you first. She looks at him and she's like, what? Oh, okay, I'll play. And then she recites, and then they do the whole Han Solo Guido thing from Star Wars. Well, at the end, all I can say is that, yes, Guido shot first. But it doesn't matter, because Harley stabbed him in the chest with a fork. That's all I'm going to say. Again, it had nothing to do with anything. They just recreated the Star Wars Episode 4, and then just moves right along. You know, if you're lucky, they'll just repossess your motorcycle over my hot, dead body. That's the idea. I've been looking forward to this for a long time. Yeah, I bet you have. Sorry for the mess. Anyway, it moves on later on, and she's at a roller derby. Again, she has another job as a roller derby. Unfortunately, she was late and she missed the game. So her team lost because she wasn't there. And she says, is there anything I can do to make this better? And the team captain's like, the only thing you can do to make this better is if you cripple the rest of the opposing team to make sure they never do this to us again. And Harley's like, oh, okay, I can take care of that. So you see the opposing team who's leaving the arena, going to their cars, and Harley just runs them all over. And the rest of the team is just like, and the rest of Harley's teammates see this and they're just horrified, except for the team captain who's like, oh, that's pretty hot. Anyway, after that, Harley finally remembers, she actually forgot she had the family in her trunk the whole time. She takes them out to the pier and she's threatening them, you know, and she's telling them, you know, you should visit your grandmother more often. You know, what kind of family are you? And the husband speaks up. He's like, what are you talking about? We visit her every week. He's like, what do you mean? She says that, you know, you guys haven't visited her in months. And he says, well, my mother has Alzheimer's. She doesn't remember what she had for breakfast. I was like, oh, I should really do my homework before I start doing things. Right. Sorry. And just kind of leaves them and just drives off and says, now remember to visit your grandmother. And then later on, she's sitting in her office and she's reading her files like, oh man, I really should read these files before I talk to these people. Then she meets up with this man, what's his name? I forgot his name. But basically, Mr. Boardman. Basically, Mr. Boardman, he's a guy who's at this nursing home. He's in a wheelchair. He's got these like a robotic arm and a robotic leg and like one like robotic eye. He rolls in and he starts talking to Harley. And apparently, he is the one that's been hiring these bounty hunters to get her. He doesn't tell her that, but what he does tell her is that he used to be this secret agent, and he was involved in this explosion, and his body parts were, you know, replaced with the most advanced technology at the time. But now he's an old guy. Basically, he needs Harley's help because he believes there's some old enemies, old Russian enemies. Because again, goes back to the Cold War and the American and Soviet Union. There's some old enemies that he wants her to help, you know, take care of, help him take care of his loose ends, his final business. You know, he asked her for her help for him, for her country. And she's like, let's do this, and that's the end of the end of the issue. And the next one I think is called "Looking for Rusted Ruskies." It's wow, it's taking this interesting turn, but yeah, it's interesting seeing Harley trying to be a good Samaritan, even though she is breaking the law and doing these terrible things. You kind of get the feeling that her heart's in the right place. You know, she's there's this old lady who's so lonely, and she's talking about how much she misses her family. I will force her family to come see her, or threaten to kill them if they don't. You know, my teammates at the roller derby, you know, got beat because I wasn't there. I didn't let them down. I know I'll make it up to them. I'll run down the opposing team to make sure they never beat my team again. It is hilarious. And apparently someone at DC, I guess DC loves Star Wars, I guess, because we had a couple of Star Wars references this week. Yeah, but that's Harley Quinn issue number 4. God damn, I love this series. I love this series. I can't wait for the next one. This is going somewhere. I don't know where it's going, but I'm gonna be along for the ride. Damn it, this is a lot of fun. Harley Quinn number 4. Okay, now this third comic book I'm going to review. First off, I just want to say I am a big fan of this show. I don't like to discuss that too often because I understand that even though a lot of people do like this show, it can be a hot button issue. We did a live stream once of a fan-made game involving this, and we had, you know, a lot of dislikes and people even. I always find it funny when people unsubscribe to you and they write down unsubscribe, you know, as if, you know, is that like, you know, is that supposed to mean something? All right, if you want to subscribe or unsubscribe to us or not, you know, hey, that's your choice. But you know, like I said, it's something that I enjoy. I like it a lot. I don't obsess over or anything like that, but I just like quality stuff, and to me, this is quality. And I don't like to discuss it very often because, at least higher on the Blade of Gaming, because I know that even though there are a lot of people who are fans of it, there are also a lot of people who don't like the fans, and I don't want to, you know, end up pushing in your face. But I did want to review this issue because it's the start of, I believe, a 4-issue arc that might be very interesting. This is My Little Pony: Friendship is Magic, issue number 17. This story involves the magic mirror that was in Equestria Girls. I didn't really enjoy it. I didn't really like that movie very often, but I do like the concept of the magic mirror and the fact that it can take to other parallel universes. And I just want to say that I've read some rumors about this possible arc, and it might have kind of an Injustice Gods Among Us kind of feel to it, and I'll explain a little later. Anyway, My Little Pony: Friendship is Magic, issue number 17. It starts off with Princess Luna going through the castle. Suddenly, Princess Celestia goes through the magic mirror and disappears. A week later, Princess Luna brings the main 6 to the castle, explains what happened, says that Celestia had disappeared for a week. Went through into this mirror, it's disappeared, it was a week ago, and she hasn't returned since. And Twilight's like, well, hasn't been, Princess Celestia has been gone for a week, how has this not gotten out? And Luna says it has been difficult. Reason why is because basically Luna has taken over Celestia's duties. Not only is she raising the moon, but she's also been raising the sun. She's also been cosplaying as her sister. But the funny thing is that she gets a wig. She's been dressing up like Celestia. She has the wig, but she painted her skin pink, which I know is a direct reference to the fact that Hasbro released a pink Princess Celestia doll. One thing I started, I'm an avid follower of the comic books. Reason why is because there's so many pop culture references. So after that, Luna takes the main six down into the mountain that Canterlot is built on, and they go through the ancient laboratory of Star Swirl the Bearded. Now, Star Swirl the Bearded is basically Twilight Sparkle's idol. He was this powerful magic user. Now, we've never been seen in the cartoon, but he's been referenced a lot. And she's been a huge fan. So, of course, she's geeking out over the fact that, oh my god, I'm actually in, Star Swirl's laboratory. This is amazing. And during that, well, first, the six go out to investigate while Princess Luna returns to the castle. And she takes Spike with him. Spike's upset because he wants to go on the adventure, but Twilight convinces him that, he has to stay with Luna just in case they need anything. They can contact her through him. And throughout the issue, you see these little tidbits of Princess Luna and Spike hanging out together, and they play all these different games to pass the time. I think one they play like Chutes and Ladders. Another one they play Monopoly, and Spike has all the property, and Luna doesn't. And Luna's like, I hate this game, and Spike's like, I love it. Kind of reminds me every time I play Will in Monopoly. He always kicks my ass, which is sad. Anyway, back in the laboratory, they find out, the main six find out that Princess Celestia had a history with Star Swirl the Bearded. And you see these flashbacks of like thousands of years ago when Celestia was a lot younger. So again, it goes to the fact that they're not. I guess they're not immortal. I guess Celestia and Luna aren't exactly immortal. It's just that they age a lot slower than normal ponies. So this was like at the beginning where Celestia's a lot younger, and as before Luna, her betrayal, and became Nightmare Moon. Star Swirl the Bearded created this. Basically, he's the one that created the ability to cross to other dimensions. I guess it's implying that he's the one that created the magic mirror, or the properties of that would become the magic mirror. Yeah, I think that's what it is. He's the one that created the properties that would become the magic mirror. He goes into through the mirror. Celestia's hesitant at first, because hey, I have this bustling new kingdom. I don't know if I should be going around gallivanting from dimension hopping. He's like, oh, and Star Swirl's like, oh, come on, adventure awaits. Celestia's like, okay. So they go through the dimension, and Celestia's like, I go through the portal, and they end up in another dimension. And Celestia's like, oh, so where are we? They're in the dinosaur era. And right in front of them is a giant Tyrannosaurus Rex that for some reason has Fluttershy's cutie mark on his thigh. So this year we've had Flutter Hulk, we've had Flutter Bat, and now we've had Fluttersaurus Rex. So they've run back through the dimension, and Celestia's like, oh, that was crazy. We could have been eaten by giant lizards. Let's try that again. So it's discovered that throughout the decades, Celestia and Star Swirl the Bearded, who are the best of friends, did a lot of traveling to alternate dimensions. And I'm assuming like alternate versions of Equestria. And they come back and they get all these different mementos from the previous place. There's one where Celestia's like wearing a baseball cap and has a hat and has a baseball bat. And there's a box that says chocolates and it says Property of Celestia on it. There's one where they go and just all different kind of areas. There's one too where it looks like they're trying to. It's a recreation of Frankenstein, or like they're trying to do something. But it's just really funny that they've gone through all the. They had discovered all these different dimensions and had all these different adventures together. One evening though, where Star Swirl is sleeping, Celestia goes through the portal and then comes back when she comes back, though, Starswell's waiting for her, and he picks up this piece of paper, and he's like, "How long have you been visiting this place?" And she's like, "Not long." And he's like, "How long?" He says, and she's like, "Well, often, not too often, every once in a while." And Starswell tells her that you know you're not supposed to go to this place. If you keep going to this place, it would be disastrous, you know. And they have a little bit of our argument. Starswell then stops the whole thing. He then, you know, shuts down the portal despite Celestia's tears and begging him not to do it. You know, he tells her how disappointed she is. She runs off crying, and he's like, "Oh, I'm too old for this." After that, again, the main six can report that to Luna, who tells them, you know, again, all the again, it tells them exactly what happened. Let's see. Okay. The main six, they go back to, they report this to Princess Luna, and they tell her, they tell them all the stuff they discovered, and Luna, of course, is very surprised. She didn't know about any of this. You know, they're talking while they're around the magic mirror. Suddenly, the magic mirror opens, and out walks Princess Celestia. But Celestia has been just beaten up. She has a black eye, and she's swole. She looks like she's just been put through the ringer, you know. And Luna's like chastising her. "Do you know how stressful it was for me to be here by myself?" And, you know, and just that and the other. Then Celestia just collapses right into Luna's arms, and Luna's like, "No, wake up! I like stress." Then suddenly you see something coming out of the mirror, and Twilight screams, "King Sombra, no!" And then the issue ends. Cliffhanger. It is a very interesting start. The thing about this issue is that in this one issue gave Princess Celestia more personality than the first 4 seasons of the show. You know, she's always shown to be very regal and a teacher, you know, and just very, you know, perfect. But this one actually shows, you know, that she screws up a lot. You know, she did something terrible. You know, she's showed her as she was younger. You know, and again, I've never really been that interested in Princess Celestia until now, because this one actually gave her more of an interesting personality. The fact that she's not as perfect as, you know, as she's made out to be in the show. You know, she does screw up a lot, and she does make mistakes, and apparently she did something really bad in this case, and now she's kind of unlocked this dimension to this other dimension. And the reason I say this gives me kind of a Justice Gods Among Us feel is this. I'm not 100% sure that was King Sombra that was going through the window. If it was, it possibly was, but I'm thinking that on the other side of that dimension, it could be an evil version of Princess Celestia, and that they may come to invade, you know, Equestria, which would be very interesting. The thing about the comic, now think about the My Little Pony Friendship is Magic comic book, is that this comic book series really is, the target audience really is bronies. Because the majority of people who buy comics and read comics are young adults. Young men, which, you know, for a lot of bronies are. And so the comic book series does deal with things that are a little more darker, or things that the show wouldn't necessarily touch on, or go into a little more deeper. I mean, like really, you see Celestia walk in and she just looked like she had, you know, the shit kicked out of her, you know, and that's not something you really would ever see in the show. Interesting too is that they also go into development on Twilight, on how she really had this wings, these Princess Alicorn Twilights were all kind of forced on her. That, you know, she has on one hand Celestia, who's a princess who she admires and wants to be like. However, her passion is magic, you know, and that's Starsword bearded. So she's like, she kind of feels like she's stuck. She has these two paths. She's like the path that of being following Celestia and being the princess. Like I said, that's the path that everyone wants me to follow. But then there's the Starsword, the bearded path. That's the path that I really actually want to go. You know, I have a love for magic. You know, it's the thing that, you know, it's the princess path or the magic path. You know, and they kind of reassure her like, oh, come on, you know, you can do them both. You know, but it's gonna be interesting to see how that plays out. So yeah, that was MLP Friendship is Magic issue 17. I'm definitely gonna check it out. Now again, if you're into MLP and you want me to continue to at least look at this arc and see where it goes, please let me know. If you're not interested, don't. You know, I'm not trying to throw anything in your face or anything. I'm just, you know, sharing with you something that I thought was pretty interesting. Again, if you have any other comic books that you would like me to take a look at, or review, or discuss, let me know. If you want to discuss any comic books in the comments, let me know too. You know, hey. Again, I love looking at comments. I love people who put down comments because it looks like, you know, it looks to me like they're actually interested or care what I have to say. Anyway, thank you very much. This is Eugene Morris with the Brotherhood of Gaming with this comic book review. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you for all your support. Thank you for listening to me ramble on.